Hello, UCAR. Peter Christensen here, coming to you from the CEO's desk. We're going to talk about Section 1 of the REPC today. So it's the included items. And how does that relate to everything we're trying to include in the sale? Well, first thing to note is all of the items in 1.1 and even the check boxes in 1.2, they're plural. And the reason we do that is because we don't want there to be ambiguity if there are 3 awnings or 4 refrigerators, which ones stay, which ones don't. So you've got to specify specifically which are not going to stay if they're in 1.1. If the intention is to, 3 out of 4 stay, specify which ones. And then same thing in 1.2, if you include something there, specify which don't come with the property if they are going to come with the property, if some are and some are not. So that's number 1. Number 2 to notice is this is not an all-inclusive list. These are some more common items included in the sale of a home, but by no means is this extensive. So you as a buyer's agent and a listing agent, you got to be aware there are going to be many items that do not fit in this section that you're going to have to pay attention to and ask questions. Seller, do you want this to stay? Do you want to take this with you? Buyer, what are you wanting? What are you hoping comes with the sale of this house? And then communicate well so that there's no surprise at settlement of what stayed and what didn't stay. And then notice a big line in 1.1. It's right at the beginning. It says items if presently owned and in place. The key is the owned there. If something is leased, then it is not owned necessarily and might not be covered by 1.1, even if it's an item that's listed in 1.1 because it's not owned by the seller. So seller, be aware of that, and listing agents and help clarify that. But buyer's agents, you might want to ask questions if it's a typical item that may be leased. And then the last one I want to mention is that if something's not included in 1.1 and you want to include it in the purchase, you have this section 1.2, but you can handle it in 2 different ways. Well, really 3. There are some common items that you can check the box for. Done. Covered. There's also a line for other, where you'd specify whatever the item is. You can put it in there and specify it. But the other option is after those blank lines, there are 2 boxes for there are other items that are or are not included in the sale of this property. If you check are, because you don't want to put it in the blank, there is the private property transfer agreement that can be used as the written agreement to specify items. So if you have a lot more items or high-ticket items, then usually it's a good idea to consider using that private property transfer agreement, and you can specify the items. We've gone through that in a prior video, so check that out. But hopefully those few tips will help you navigate Section 1 of the REPC and help you avoid issues with surprises of items not coming with the property that you thought were going to be included with the property. Remember, this is not legal advice, legal information only. If you need specific legal advice, please contact your attorney. Thanks for tuning in.